Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chrissy from Solstice ATR. This is March 19, 2022. We're going to be doing a short video about the overall market. Number one thing, is there a change in the market? Before I do, we use adaptive algorithm for trading, for bullish scenarios, bearish scenarios, or side markets. We are found on Solstice ATR, on Twitter by my name, Instagram, as well as Discord. This is my ID for Discord. You can download Discord to DM me if you need any questions. More than happy to help if you throw me a line. This video is done on weekly basis on YouTube for free to show you the overall market, what happened historically, and what the outcome will be in the following week. Hit the smash button if you like it, and at the same time, you can subscribe. We use this for illustration use only. We are not a broker-dealer. Past performance does not indicate future results. Use at your own risk. Data may not be copied without asking for permission. Okay, let's first take a look at the first slide that I did last week. I put this up last week and I said, pay attention to the overall market. We showed from 2002, 2001, what the SPX 200 daily moving average, when most of the stocks are getting beat up, especially in the Nasdaq 100, S&P 500, whether they are small cap or the Dow Jones Industrial Average 30. And I used the 200 SMA here to show every major event where the dumps were in relationship to the spikes up. And I said, hey, be careful here. There may be a change in trend. Have we bottomed down or do we dribble further down? And unfortunately, after the Fed announcement, we U-turned and went back up. Let's say because it might have been priced in. This was last week's video. Has the lows been made in the stock market and able to read the internals for reversals? And I put this example up 2 weeks ago on the slide. I said this is a 9% drop at 12.5, which we already got, and the 14 drop. And I kept saying, pay attention to the June and May low. If this is the consolidation where they consolidated here, we rallied, we retested it in September and we took off. Is there a reversal after last week's, dribbling down and reversing back and clearing this down channel? This is the combination of the SPY by itself, not using SPX or E-mini or the micro. Second slide, I had the IWM, and I had given a lot of different electronically traded funds to keep an eye on, such as NYI, TNX, Spiders, IWM, VTB, VUG, RSP, TLT, which is the bond market, XLK, XLP, which is the tech. I didn't put the XLV there, which is the healthcare sector, and the biotech. IEF for the bond. TLT is I put it twice there. I just noticed it right now. And the GJX and DZC. I said we trade futures, Forex, and you have to pay to the Aussie dollar, Japanese dollar, American dollar, Euro dollar, Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and crude. Remember, inflation was there, and all the prices in crude and all the, the Russia, Ukraine, crisis has caused a strain to overprice the values of gold as well as crude. Is it settling down? Do we have to go back and take oil out of the ground in the US market to drop the price down? Of course we have to. Everybody's pushing the agenda for electric cars. And we use electric cars, that's fine, but they are hazardous material, the battery, number one. The grid that you use the electricity from, it's coming from somewhere. It has to come from coal, windmill, solar power, and gas. And we are not sufficient enough to run an electric car from here to Las Vegas directly without, stopping to recharge it in case you get stuck in traffic. You'll be stuck in the middle of nowhere. So remember, this technology is there, but it's not sufficient enough to get you 500 miles going cross country. So pay attention to that sector as well. Second part, I said, okay, I want you to take this snapshot. Read those bottom information on that bottom of a slide. I used an upside down home and I put a little bit hidden tools there. That's Bitcoin. And I said, you need help, ask, because the machines are always adapt to the market noise and the algorithm. Since we trade it, we're able to see humans' behavior in relationship to price action, which is an advertising mechanism. Is this news behind us? Number two, inflation and Fed announcement. Is it priced in? And I said, the volatility set up for the year. Fed is now different animal. It acts according to what the politician, what the agenda is to move things around. The big boys get richer, the little guy gets squashed, but I want you to use it in your advantage to make better choices. The data could be behind us. Act day by day. Don't be biased. Be flexible and fluid with the market in order to help you out. Let's go to the first slide after this to putting the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow. We can see on the weekly, I put these ovals. They've been there for years. You can see those boxes, the consolidation. Have we retested this area? Yes, a couple of times. Last week's weekly bar is very bullish. On the combination of the three, we haven't taken out the 50 simple moving average or the 18 simple moving average, which is the midpoint for the Bollinger Band. We have to pay attention to it to see if we're going to continue higher or lower. We have cleared the 38.2. We haven't cleared. We're just barely touching the 50 simple moving average. I mean, not the 50 simple moving, the 50 Fibonacci. Remember, the market goes from support to resistance, resistance to support, or consolidation or expansion. Always, I want you to pay attention to the price action because it either attracts people or pulls people out of the market. Let's go to the daily chart. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to go time frame. Instead of 5 here, we're going to go only to about 9 months. And we're going to use the daily across the board for most of them. And I'll use a couple of charts for 4 hour, 30 days or 45 days to show the overall market. We can see when we bottom down, we have a down channel here. We basically have taken this channel out. Does this continue and does it find support on the 50 simple moving average and the backside of the 38 to create, if it's going to create a cup and handle, or does it continue to clear the 50 Fib, the 200 SMA, 116 and the 61.8? This is a very important. This was like a double top before we fell apart. Is this coming back to retest this area to continue higher? Let's take a look at the small cap by itself, the RTY. This has the fibs. I can use the IWM or you can use the micro RTY. I'm going to use the one I have the measured move on it on the monthly as well as the annual fib on it. Let's see it. We know that the annual fib was range bound between the 2460.8 and the low here, 1920.5. We know the 38 or the 61.8 can act either or. If it's coming down or up, you can flip your fibs. This is the 50 and this can be the 61 going back up. We have cleared the 50 simple moving average. We have cleared the 18. We're climbing and we cleared this down trend. If we zoom in here, we can see that this down linear regression channel, we've cleared a smaller one here, which we consolidated and broke up the last 4 days. We've got a hammer reversal from the Fed announcement and their policies regarding interest rates and what's going on in Ukraine to sustain the inflation and drop down the prices. So that way we can find an opportunity from now till end of the year, some kind of a setup. Does it clear the 61.8 eventually in the 100% measured move for the month and clear this down channel that we had from way back? You can see if I right click on it, it shows you 1/4/2021 till 12/20/2021, that channel where it came and we broke through it. If we continue to clear it, and do we clear this area? That's a small cap. Let's take a look at the ES, /ES. We can see that the S&P 500 is in a similar situation. We created a shoulder ahead. This is a shoulder. I consider it and rallied back up and cleared this channel. We are in an uptrend. This is our weekly measured move. We are sitting above the 50 Fibonacci and above this 50 simple moving average. Very important number, 4413, 44.08 has to hold in order to continue higher. We're not biased to being bearish, but we trade what the charts give us because it's an advertising mechanism, once again, for everyone to understand. Let's take a look at now the Nasdaq /NQ. Oops. Nasdaq 100 is just barely touching on the smaller time range the 50 simple moving average, which is this yellow moving average sloping down. We cleared the 18, we cleared the 5. This is a bullish cross to continue higher. On the annual chart, which is my annual high and annual low, we're sitting right underneath the 50 Fibonacci. Pay attention to that area if it wants to go to the 50% and eventually the 61% fib and the 116 simple moving average for the trend to change. Let's now take a look at the Dow. We'll go to BTC. The Dow rallied quite a bit, very strong. It has touched the downtrend channel trend. Very importantly, we are above the 50 once again, which is the yellow. And we are above the 18 simple moving average, and we crossed the hackle. I'm not going to go into details of what it does, but I know the 18 is underneath and the 50 is up here. Very important area that we do hold the 34,143 in order to continue higher on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let's take a look at now BTC. And BTC, it is in consolidation, compressing. If I take all the annual fib from the low to the high, we just move it to the side. We know the 38.2 is right here and the 50% here. So I'm going to zoom in this area to show what's going on here because it's a very concentrated area. We do have this professional gap up here in order to get it going back above that 45, 46,000, 47, 215, and this comes from this area here. You can see that this number 47, 215, and these three here, they were in a linear down channel. We tried to rally, couldn't. So if I zoom in from here and look at it mathematically, this is my symmetrical triangle inside of a fib. In order to rally, we have to clear this downtrend channel here and break above it to get back to the backside of this channel, which is the from 10/8/2020 till 7/20/2021. This channel was broken. It has been retested so many times. It's no longer valid, but I have it as a reference point in case we get to the 45,000. Does it act as support or resistance, or do we break through it to continue higher, or do we fall back in BTC to the backside of this channel and fall back to 30,000? Remember, we are a trading company that specializes in adaptive algo without our emotion. The sentiment's trying to change to being bullish, but if the trend does not, you can see here it says long and bullish, short term up, mid-term down, long term up, because it can consolidate here before breaking out. But pay attention to BTC. We're going to go to Ethereum just for a little bit. ETH, and I'll show you a similar situation. Ethereum on the short time frame has broken that symmetrical triangle, had 4 nice days rallying. Does it get back to the 50 Fibonacci and the 200 SMA and the 38.2 first, or does it sustain this area, hold the 18 in this channel in order to continue higher? Now we're going to go to GC. This is very important, and I'm going to use the micro GC to show everybody how I'm looking at it and the reason behind the reset in gold, and I'll talk about as well crude. Let's first do gold. We can see on the annual chart, we came out of a linear regression, side market, back and forth, consolidating and rally straight up. The fear here caused an exponential shift to the upside above the 161 Fed. It's retraced up there because of the Ukraine-Russia war. On all of a sudden, after that spike up, everybody got caught at the high unless they liquidated their position, took profits, they liquidated back to the back side of the channel where it broke out. If you can see it here, it fell through, retested the back side of the 61.8 and bounced back up. Still gold. Does it create a shoulder here to fall back into the 50, or does it reverse back above the 38, continue higher? Pay attention to the mining companies. You have GLD, you got gold, you got copper, you got different minerals, platinum, palladium, so silver. Just pay attention to what they offer you in order to make a decision on your entries and exit without being biased. Let's take a look at now the micro CL. Okay, I'm trying not to put the regular ones because I don't want to overwhelm you with fibs. As we can see, this was the 261 fib extension to the top. I don't want to go in detail of it. We had an up channel that we were going up here. We can see it, and eventually it broke above it. We can, grab this one from here. You can see it if I put it connected to here or even here. You broke up. You tested it a couple times. You see you fell in, and eventually we rallied that hard because, only 3% of Ukraine crude oil was coming to US and 8% was distributed throughout the globe. Can other countries use nuclear power and energy in the correct form without harming the environment? Possibly can be done, but they don't want to do that. They're limiting the production of oil. That's another issue. They're cutting out trees and they say we want to be environmental friendly. I don't want to go into detail of politics or their agenda. I want you to think smart when you're trading the instruments you are in. Act on what the price action is. Don't worry what the noise is going on. Does the crude, can it come back lower? They're trying to push electric cars. Crude is sufficient enough to push cars in, and the machinery, heavy machinery, such as transportation, manufacturing, agriculture. You cannot go to a Caterpillar or a John Deere and say, hey, you need to use an electric tractor to harvest the land. Doesn't make sense. Or the machinery that cuts into the ground, and they go create a battery that's very hazardous, acidic, and in 4 or 5 years you may have to replace it. Where do you get rid of that product? Okay, so this is my agenda regarding this side of it. Eventually that technology and everything will be more efficient, and we can use different things to help out. But right now I don't see it. There's a resetting crude, and when it came back down here, it retested the consolidation and the measured move on the monthly and bounced back out to the 38. Does this mean it can continue higher? Possibly. Does it resettle around the $88, $85? It can be done, but you have to pay attention to what the noise is in the market. Let's do a couple of ETFs, and I'll go to do a couple of stocks. XLK, we'll start with XLA. This is the technology. You can see we pushed higher. XLV, which is the healthcare sector, we pushed quite a bit. Healthcare did very well last week. XLU is consolidating at the high. You can see XLP is trying to reverse. XLE, you can see that the sector in the energy. XLF, the financial, and we'll do the IEI, which is the short-term 3 to 7 year bond. I didn't use the IEF. I usually use the IEF. Now today I use the IEI. RSP, you can see starting to U-turn as well. So I want you as a trader to think smart about the overall market without being biased. I'm going to use one Vanguard, VTV. You can see started to move in relationship to VUG. You can see it's starting to reset. So I want people, whenever they're trading, to have no biased opinion and go, oh, I'm listening to the news on the box. They don't care about you. Rule 1, protect your capital. Rule 2, don't stay wrong. Rule 3, act on every action and reaction in the market because it's got the people's emotions and feeling. If there's a switch in trend and you see price action reversing, act on. Don't stay thinking, oh, the market is going bad, it's going to go down, okay? Maybe it was priced in. Let's go back to ES, which is the one that has the Fibonacci's on it, and I want to finish it up right here and keep it simple in the overall by just having a couple of stocks there. The S&P represent those 500 companies. We can take a look at them, some of them. We're going to start with, say, AAPL, which is part of the Dow, part of the Nasdaq. You can see it's still in that linear regression down channel, has cleared the 18, and it's got four soldiers running up after that bottom. We are in a symmetrical wedge down. You can see that triangle, and we have a linear regression channel. We're still below the 50 SMA. Pay attention to what the Apple's going to do in the future. Let's take a look at Amazon. You can see Amazon broke above the 50, broke above the 18. Very nice, strong movement. Remember, Amazon, their board of directors may want to do 20-for-1 split, and it's causing that little reversal. Pay attention to the 61.8, which is the 38.2 on Amazon. Let's take a look at now Boeing, BA. You can see Boeing started to reverse from that downtrend, broke up and came back to the annual fib from last year, sitting right above it. Does this continue or not? You can see it says 1/4/2021. That was the low for last year's Boeing. Let's take a look at now Blackstone. You can see Blackstone, it was in a downtrend. We still had this linear regression down channel in this one here, which was no longer valid, but I kind of kept it as a reference point. When we bottomed here, we consolidated, we were in a downtrend. You can see it here. It acted as support. This is a shoulder, this is a head, this is a shoulder running up. We have cleared the 50 in the 18. Pay attention to the 38, 50, 61, 116 SMA. Let's take a look at LMT. You can see where Lockheed Martin is after Ukraine, Russia. They spiked it up very hard and dropped it like crude oil and gold. Let's take a look at Facebook. And I had called it last week in my video, and I said, pay attention to the price in Facebook. It looks like this channel here, even if I just zoom in this area, you can see that, let's do this here. You can see that downtrend channel, what was a linear regression. We had a shoulder ahead, a shoulder almost like a double bottom, but it was getting round, and I said, pay attention in case we break this channel. You may clear the 18 SMA, and you look for the 216.15, and there it is right here. This is the backside of a signal alert ADX RSI. When it dumped so hard, it got hit, tried to bounce, couldn't retrieve the 238 to continue back up and clear the 244. We grinded lower, tried to get back, missed it, fell back down, and eventually we got here. Does this mean Facebook may consolidate here to continue and clear this area? Possibly. Pay attention to the price action. Let's take a look at CAT. You can see Caterpillar rallied nicely, but it's on a small size increments. We're going to zoom down all the way. You can see how Caterpillar rallied back up. I'm not going to do John Deere, but I'll do DE just to show you a reference point. Annual high for the year. You can see it because it's part of the agriculture. Let's take a look at Google. There's Google, similar situation like Facebook U-turn and Amazon. Let's take a look at NFLX. I'm not going to do Bobber or Baidu or Roku or AMD or Intel. I'm just going through a couple of them so that way you can see it. You have questions, please ask us. DM me on Twitter or even on Discord. Let's take a look at Tesla, and I'll do one more, which is WYNN, and we'll let it go. You can see Tesla was still in it. Linear regression open cone wedge, and I did this smaller one here. You can see we eventually shoulder, head, shoulder. We broke up. We're testing the 38, which we cleared, and we are sitting right at the 50 simple moving average. In order to continue, you need to clear the 116 SMA and F5 to get the F6, which is this consolidation before the dump. So pay attention to what Tesla does, NIO and other electric companies, Toyota, General Motors, Ford. I'm not going to go through them. Let's just finish it by looking at the ES once again. I want you to be flexible. Trade what the charts offer you. We're going to look at the SPY, and SPY is the same thing, which is the electronically traded fund, or the IWM. You see that box I put there? I kind of showed the reference points in that prior slide to show you where those levels were in relationship to price action. We eventually bottomed out, looking to reverse back up. Does this continue or not? Pay attention to it. Trade what's given to you. If you like this video, hit thumbs up, smash the like button, and subscribe. Take care. Over and out.